Hi, I'm Ginny.
And I'm Katie.
Sometimes the hardest step in business is the first step. And we're making the leap today, launching the Leading with Instinct podcast. We're so happy you're tuning in, and we hope that you'll join us for future episodes.
This is the Leading with Instinct podcast, focusing on intuitive leadership and fostering deep team connections through equine experiential leadership development and coaching. Brought to you by KatieTheCoach.com and the collaboration partners. Now, here's your hosts, Katie Navarra-Bradley and Ginny Telego.
Well, hello, welcome. I am Ginny Telego. I'm a professional facilitator and executive coach based here in Colorado. And I want to introduce myself a little bit. I believe that the key to achieving our fullest potential is collaboration. And my work specializes in leveraging collective synergy to empower individuals and organizations to reach their highest potential. So I have a master's degree in business psychology, and I'm passionate about facilitating transformative experiences through tailored training programs. So I focus on inclusive organizational cultures, leadership development, creating high-performing teams. And my executive coaching is focused on creating opportunities for people to develop new skills that enable personal and professional growth. And I'm super excited to be here and welcome you to the Leading with Instinct podcast. And my colleague Katie is here.
Hi, Ginny. I am equally excited to be here. My name is Katie Navarra-Bradley, and I am also a professional facilitator and leadership coach, and also a writer based in upstate New York. And I believe that success isn't just about what you know. It's about being adaptable, understanding communication styles, and breaking through self-limiting beliefs. As an equine experiential learning facilitator and leadership coach with a master's degree in organizational communications, I'm passionate about helping professionals unleash their full potential so they can cultivate thriving organizational cultures where people are empowered to live their best lives, both personally and professionally. When I'm not in the arena, I'm also a professional writer who helps individuals, associations, and businesses elevate their visibility through branded content. Ginny, I'm excited that we're here today launching Leading with Instinct podcast.
Yeah.
It seems like it's been a long time coming, but it's really just been a few months. And I don't remember exactly how we were first introduced, but I know that at first you were a go-to resource for me while working on branded content pieces for HR and leadership projects. And we talked a lot about how horses can help people learn to lead intuitively through their actions with horses.
Yeah, it is interesting. We have been talking for several years, and I'm pretty sure we got connected through E3A, which is the Equine Experiential Education Association, where we both are trained and certified through. And I've really enjoyed all of our conversations over the past couple of years. I always look forward when you reach out to me and say, "Hey, I'm writing this article. Would you mind getting on a call and chatting with me?" And it was so fun to meet you last fall when you came to Ohio, where I was living previously. And you had an engagement with a client that ended up only 20 minutes away from me. So that was so awesome because we were able to meet up at Bob Evans nearby and get to have an incredibly extended lunch. As I recall, we were there for a few hours.
We were, and it's amazing because even though we were meeting for the first time in person, it felt more like a reunion than just first face-to-face. And I remember in that conversation, you were offering me some great advice to help me prepare for that engagement with a client. And somewhere along the way, I just kind of blurted out to you that I had a friend from the media industry encouraging me to launch a podcast. But I didn't really feel like it was a podcast I could launch on my own. I felt like it needed to be in collaboration with someone who was a skilled facilitator and also an expert in workplace environment and culture. And so when I kind of just threw it out there, your excitement matched mine.
Well, it was so interesting. And I agree. When we met that first time last fall in person, for me, it was like sitting down with a long-time friend, right? You know how you have those friends who maybe you don't talk to them every day or even every week or something, but when you do get together, it's like no time has gone by. You just re-engage and pick up where you left off, and I really appreciated that we connected at that level, and I do remember when you mentioned doing a podcast together. I felt it. I was like, oh my gosh, yes, this is it. Because I also had people mentioning to me that I should do a podcast for the last couple of years, and I've been wanting to. I've gotten all kinds of books to plan the podcasts, and have been working on what would that look like. And for some reason, I just wasn't feeling like me doing it by myself was the format that I wanted to do. Who needs to listen to just me talking? So when you talked about us collaborating, and then we were talking about how we could have this conversational podcast, that for me was like, yes, that's it. That's exactly what I envisioned in doing a podcast. And so it seems like from that point on, we were both all in to the process.
Listening to you share that experience, it's not unlike our horses, right? They need a herd to thrive and survive in their environment. And now I feel like we're our own little herd, and we're going to share that with all of our listeners, and bring some of that to life, so that hopefully you can learn from our shared experiences in the arena with our horses, and also in working with clients on the leadership space.
Yeah, and I think that's a really great way to look at it. We want the people who are listening to our podcast to feel like they're part of our herd. And so as you know, as people know that are listening, our podcast is called Leading with Instinct. Katie and I were very excited when we finally figured out that name. We went through a lot of options trying to figure that out, utilized some AI to kind of give us some ideas and prompts. And when we landed on this Leading with Instinct, I remember we both just were thinking, oh, that's it. That's the one. We both really resonated with it. And so we were super excited then to go out and find out that the domain was open. And so we gathered up all the domains for Leading with Instinct, and it felt like that was really the big step forward for both of us, right? Was, okay, we've got a name, we've got the domains, we're stepping into this. And I think one of the reasons that I'm excited, not just about doing the podcast with you, but the theme of this podcast, is because in the experiential leadership development and coaching work that we do, we see so many people who are challenged to lead right now. They're also being challenged to consider whether or not they even want to take on a leadership role. There's a lot of people who are saying no to leadership because it seems hard. And in reality, there's a lot of stuff happening that is making leadership hard. And it's making it hard for people who are part of teams to, figure out, how do we work together and how do we appreciate each other. And so there's just a lot happening in this global environment. And so, leaders and teams are really being tasked with a lot in the face of constant, volatile uncertainty that is complex and ambiguous, right? So hence that term VUCA that gets thrown around a lot in leadership conversations. So the coaching and facilitating work that we do is so important to me because for me, I really genuinely want leaders and their teams to be less stressed. At the end of the day, that's why I do what I do, because when people are less stressed in their job, in particular, they can be more innovative, they create more collaborative cultures, and most importantly, they can enjoy their lives outside of work. And so, to me, that's a really important piece of creating the world that we want, is for people to be less stressed. And I also want people that are listening to this to know that they're not alone in the challenges that they're facing as a leader or being a member of a team. And so I'm really looking forward to people being able to hear a lot of the stories between you and I of our own experiences, within our jobs and our lives to some extent, and how we've taken lessons from the horses who, horses just are able to utilize their instincts because that's what they do, right? They don't get together for a retreat to figure out how to make things happen. They instinctually know how to respond to the current reality that they're experiencing. And I really think that that people that are listening to our podcast can benefit from us sharing some of our stories and how horses have helped us and how horses respond to things in order for them to potentially get unstuck from where they're at. So, Katie, what do you think about what do you think about the podcast and what it's bringing?
It reminds me a lot of previous experiences I had while on staff at companies before launching my own organization, because leadership is hard, and it's also kind of lonely, and you can really get stuck in the day-to-day of the changing, the office politics, and having a place to know that you're not alone, but also find strategies for working through that so that you can be more resilient and build stronger teams is really important. And at the time that I was experiencing all of that, I didn't quite realize that I didn't have the healthy boundary setting that horses naturally set up in their herds, and that I wasn't, what we like to say, letting things go and get back to grazing like horses do. And that led to some fortunately minor health issues, but it was a real wake-up call that it was time to make a change. And when I really started thinking about that, I realized that my horses were actually telling me the same thing. There were times they really didn't like being around me, and it was kind of like this aha moment of, oh, we all have to work. We have to work to support our families, to support our hobbies and the things that we want in life. But how can we make these workplaces more enjoyable for us, healthier places, so that we can better serve our authentic selves and those that we work with every day. So that is what I love about the work that we do, and I'm excited to share through this podcast, is even when I'm out feeding my horses or I'm out working with clients, I'm learning something every minute. And to be able to share that and give our listeners actionable strategies and let them know they're not alone, I hope that we offer the inspiration to become unstuck.
I love that. And I love your authentic sharing in that, Katie. And it leads me to an example of something that we, might talk about in one of our future podcasts is this idea, horses are really good role models for us in making time for rest. And, that's something that leaders oftentimes don't do. And the people on their teams don't do it either. Since I moved to Colorado, I have noticed that my horses lay down midday almost every day unless the weather's bad. And it's been so fascinating to me because I can see them out my window. And I'll be in here at my desk and I'm busy. I've got several different projects I'm working on and I'm trying to keep everything straight and thinking about all the stuff I need to do. And I'll just turn and look out the window and there's both of my horses laid out flat on their sides, which is very vulnerable for horses to do. But they do lay down to sleep. And when they lay down like that, they're really resting. Now, they don't sleep for long periods of time the way that we need to, but they will lay down and really get a good dose of sleep. And sometimes, maybe it's 30 minutes, an hour or so. And I've been watching that, and it really has come to light for me that I need to do the same thing. Because horses know instinctually that they need to rest in order to be prepared for a change in their current reality, which could happen at any moment, just like for us. And, we've been socially conditioned that rest is somehow a sign of laziness or being unproductive. Which is why thousands of hours of PTO or paid time off, vacation time, doesn't get used every year. Even though people have earned it, they're not using it. So in watching my horses rest, it's really helped me to shift my own perceptions of rest for myself. And ironically, that's actually made me more productive. So I agree with you. I really hope that people listening to the podcast will realize they're not alone in the challenges that are coming at them, and that when we pay attention to our instincts, like if we have an instinct that we need to rest, we need to pay attention to that. And when we can do that the way horses do, I really think that can make us better leaders and better team members.
Absolutely. I wanted to go back to a minute when you said that people are not using their PTO. And there was a Pew Research survey from late in 2023, and it was astounding to me that more than half of workers in the US don't use all of their PTO time. And of those, even when they do take time off, they're checking their emails, they're working. I've been there. It wasn't until I went overseas to Italy and decided, hey, I can't, nobody can reach me over here. It was before, mobile connections to Europe were as easy as they are today. And it was really the chance to just unplug from everything. And you make a good point. Technology is changing so fast today. We're talking about all this generative AI and robotics and technology advancing at a pace that is just mind-boggling. I heard this guest speaker before the holidays talk about how this must skill that we used to need was IQ during the Industrial Revolution. Then we started moving into EQ and being empathetic. And really what we need to survive now and really thrive into the future is what he called AQ, or adaptability quotient. And being adaptable is something that horses are really skilled at. They've been around for thousands and thousands of years, and they have naturally figured out how to adapt to their changing environment so that they're still with us today, but also setting healthy boundaries, finding that time to rest, and living their best lives.
Yeah, and I think that's really the key to what we're going to be talking about in our future episodes are these ways that horses navigate through uncertainty instinctually, and how we can learn from that. And we can utilize a lot of those same tools in order for us to be able to navigate through uncertainty that is really coming at us at a very, very high rate. And so, since Katie and I met last fall, we started texting almost daily, either texting or emailing about topics that were coming up to us. Because we're experiencing these interactions with our horses on a daily basis, and coming back to each other and saying, oh my gosh, you're not going to believe this is what happened today, and this is the insight that came from that. And so we're really excited to be able to bring you these episodes, and they're each going to be about 30 minutes long, and we're going to share some of our personal experiences and the experiential workshop experiences from our clients, and we're going to take you into the arena with us. So you'll get to hear about the powerful intuitive lessons that horses teach us daily, and how they can demonstrate how you can translate those insights into actionable strategies for leading authentically and confidently. So, Katie, what are some other things that people are going to hear about in our podcast episodes?
They'll probably get to hear a lot of what it's like to take care of horses every day.
Especially in the winter.
Especially in the winter, breaking ice. I also hope to, I have received a lot of just general inquiries about what is a horse like? I've never been near an animal that large. And so I hope that you'll also pick up just a few fun facts, like Ginny mentioned earlier, that horses do need sleep, even though it makes them vulnerable. So we will also share with you, hopefully, some things that maybe pique your curiosity about horses in general. But really our goal is to really leave you with some aha moments that really cause you to pause and think about where you are in your leadership journey and how it might be able to help you solve some of the complex problems you're facing today and move forward.
Yeah. And we hope to bring some guests on periodically, maybe some workplace experts that are, organizational development experts, maybe some people that are doing different kinds of research, and also maybe some individuals that have participated in some of our equine experiential leadership workshops, so they can share very directly what experiences they've had. So we really want to focus our podcast on helping people get unstuck. And so, Katie, if somebody has a topic that they might want to share with us or have us discuss, what should they do to reach out to us?
If a listener would like to get in touch with us, please visit the link on our website, which will direct you to a form and ask you to share the topic that you're struggling with, and we will work that into an upcoming podcast episode.
Yeah. So we'll be at the leadingwithinstinct.com. You can go to the landing page. That's where you'll be able to find other episodes as they get launched. And we just really look forward to having you join us for future conversations and join us in the conversations at some point in time.
So until next time, stay grounded, stay connected, and always lead with instinct.
This has been the Leading with Instinct podcast, focusing on intuitive leadership and fostering deep team connections through equine experiential leadership development and coaching. The Leading with Instinct podcast is brought to you in partnership with the Collaboration Partners, harnessing the collective human potential in organizations since 2009, providing equine experiential learning for lasting change. Get in touch at thecollaborationpartners.com and by katiethecoach.com, helping entrepreneurs and business leaders reset, reconnect, and reframe to live their best professional and personal lives. Visit katiethecoach.com for more information. For more information about equine experiential development and coaching and the Leading with Instinct podcast, visit www.leadingwithinstinct.com. The Leading with Instinct podcast is available at leadingwithinstinct.com, on the Leading with Instinct YouTube channel, and wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Subscribe today, and thank you for listening to the Leading with Instinct podcast.